It just came out of Alabama. Finally, we know who will be the quarterback for Alabama this season. This announcement is surprising a lot of people, and even now, I still can't believe that he is going to be the man in this position. How did this player manage to secure the job? The position left open by Simpson created a competition that could completely change the identity of the team. Kalen DeBoer already knows that it is not enough to simply choose the most talented quarterback. The next QB1 will have to take on a much greater responsibility within an offense that is also going through major changes. And that is exactly why this decision could take longer than many fans expected. Instead of quickly announcing a replacement for Simpson, DeBoer indicated that the competition could continue into the fall. In other words, while fans are trying to figure out who will become the new leader of the offense, the coach would rather wait and see who can truly establish himself within the system. And when we look at the names involved, it becomes clear why this decision will be anything but simple. Simpson left Alabama after taking over the starting position and will now continue his career in the NFL. With his departure, Alabama Crimson football lost not only the quarterback who was leading the offense, but also a player who had already earned the coaching staff's trust. DeBoer revealed that he named Simpson the starter a little earlier than he would have expected a year before. Now the situation is completely different. Two names are at the center of this competition, and each one has a quality that could convince the coaching staff. On one side is Keelon Russell, a player many analysts see as the favorite to win the position. On the other is Mack, a quarterback with something that could carry a lot of weight in a decision of this magnitude, experience within Kalen DeBoer's system. And perhaps that is exactly where the biggest mystery lies. Will Alabama bet on the potential that could represent the future of the program, or on the experience of someone who already knows the system inside and out? Keelon Russell enters this competition with an advantage that has attracted a lot of attention. During his first year as a redshirt freshman, he showed impressive efficiency in the opportunities he received. Russell completed 73.3% of his passes in limited action as a backup and also recorded 2 touchdowns. The numbers alone help explain why there are so many expectations surrounding him. But what really strengthens his case is the combination of efficiency, physical potential, and the perception that he could represent the future of Alabama. However, there is a problem for anyone who already considers Russell the owner of the job. Mack is not simply waiting for the opportunity to pass him by. Mack is a redshirt junior and has already spent 3 years working within DeBoer's system. Last season, he was the primary backup and appeared in 4 games, recording 228 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. He may not receive the same spotlight as Russell, but he possesses something extremely valuable to a coaching staff: knowledge of the offense, familiarity with the coaches, and experience waiting for his opportunity. And Kalen DeBoer has made it clear that he is watching exactly this type of leadership. The coach has highlighted the work of Mack and Keelon Russell, especially because Alabama is also dealing with several changes around them. The offensive line will feature new players. The backfield needs athletes who can take on greater responsibilities. And amid so many changes, the quarterback needs to be much more than someone who can throw the football. This is the point that could completely change this competition. DeBoer is not simply looking for the player with the strongest arm or the best numbers over a small sample of games. The coach is looking for someone who can lead an offense in transition. That means the decision could be influenced by what happens during practices, command of the offense, understanding of the system, and most importantly, who can convince the coaching staff that he is ready to take control. That is why the competition between Russell and Mack could continue until the end of August. And the longer the decision takes, the more important every opportunity becomes for both players to prove themselves. For Russell, the mission is to prove that the potential everyone sees can be turned into immediate leadership. For Mack, the challenge is to show that his experience within the system could be exactly what puts him ahead of a competitor many consider to be the future of the program. And there is another factor that increases the pressure surrounding this decision. Alabama Crimson football's schedule doesn't offer much room for adjustment. The 2026 season begins on September 5th in Tuscaloosa against East Carolina. In theory, it's the first step of a new season, but immediately afterward comes a road test. On September 12th, Alabama travels to Lexington to face Kentucky. Then, just 1 week later, on September 19th, the team returns to Tuscaloosa for a highly anticipated matchup against Florida State. In other words, the new quarterback will have to step onto the field quickly and begin showing confidence and consistency. And the sequence doesn't end there. On September 26th,
Alabama hosts South Carolina for an SEC matchup. Then on October 3rd, the team travels to Starkville to face Mississippi State at Davis-Wade Stadium. Within just a few weeks, the new QB1 will have to deal with different environments, different levels of pressure, and a schedule that could put every decision made during preparation to the test. That is why the quarterback decision cannot be viewed in isolation. Whoever is chosen will be taking control of an offense that needs to find new pieces and create a new identity while facing a demanding schedule. And perhaps that is exactly why DeBoer doesn't want to make the decision too early. Kalen DeBoer has already made it clear that he will choose the best player once he is certain. That statement is important because it shows that at this moment the competition is still open. Russell may be the favorite in the eyes of many analysts, but Mack has experience and knowledge of the system that cannot be ignored. Until the coaching staff sees who can truly separate himself from the competition, any definitive prediction remains just a prediction. For Alabama Crimson football, the consequence is clear. The team enters preparation for 2026 with one of its most important positions still undecided. That could be a concern for some fans, but it could also represent a huge opportunity. After all, a competition at this level can elevate the performance of both players and force each of them to show exactly why they deserve to be chosen. Now the big question is, when the time comes to make the decision, what will matter most to Kalen DeBoer? The potential of Keelon Russell and the possibility of turning the young quarterback into the next major star of the program, or the experience of Austin Mack, who has known the system for years and has already experienced the routine of being the primary backup? The answer has not been determined yet, and according to DeBoer himself, it may not come until later during the fall. Until then, every practice, every performance, and every display of leadership could change the situation. Alabama Crimson football knows it needs to find its new leader, but the coaching staff appears determined not to simply choose the quarterback who looks the most talented on paper. The priority will be finding the player who is truly prepared to lead the team. And when you look at what lies ahead, this decision carries even more weight. The new quarterback will not simply have to replace Simpson. He will have to take leadership of an offense that is in transition, help an offense featuring new pieces, and step onto the field against a schedule that will quickly test his ability. Now the decision is in Kalen DeBoer's hands. Keelon Russell has the potential and the numbers that make many people believe in him. Austin Mack has the experience and knowledge of the system that could make all the difference. And while the two continue battling for this position, one thing is already clear. Alabama Crimson football's next QB1 will have an enormous responsibility from the very first snap. The question is simple: who should be the starter? Keelon Russell, betting on the potential and future of the program, or Austin Mack, using his experience and knowledge of the system to take the lead? Leave your opinion in the comments, because this competition promises to be one of the biggest storylines surrounding Alabama Crimson football before the start of the 2026 season.